The circuit, long known as Ducati's home of victory, has turned into a puzzling stage. Despite the Italian public's high expectations, two of Ducati Lenovo's mainstay riders, Marc Márquez and Francesco Bagnaia, performed better than expected in the Mugello MotoGP Series free practice session. The most surprising outcome was that KTM appeared to be the fastest team. Could Ducati's dominance be fading right on the circuit that should be their stage of glory? Let's discuss it, and don't forget to subscribe. An expression of confusion and pressure covered the face of Gigi Dall'Igna, Ducati's general manager, from behind the Ducati course garage. He couldn't understand it. All preparations had been made. The data supported it. The motorbike settings were almost perfect. But the results on the track said otherwise. I don't understand. This is Mugello, our home track. We can't lose, said Gigi in a tone that was both disappointed and determined. Marc Márquez, the baby alien, and current leader of the 2025 MotoGP standings, opened the free practice session at Mugello with a surprising result. He fell to 16th position. This was not the expected start, especially considering the extraordinary momentum he had built up from the previous series. Marquez admitted that he had not found the ideal feeling with the Desmosedici GP25. The main problem was the fast right-hand corners typical of Mugello, an area that still reminded him of his right shoulder injury. I had difficulty finding grip and stability on the right side of the bike, he said, hinting that there was still a lot of work to be done. However, Marquez's true warrior spirit never faded. He did not give up easily. Throughout the session, he continued to experiment with the racing line, braking techniques, and his riding style. Slowly but surely, his time graph improved. He even recorded the fastest time, offering a glimmer of hope to the Ducati camp. Unfortunately, that record only lasted a moment. Maverick Vinales, surprisingly, appeared explosive and took the top position. Soon after, Marquez's own teammate, Francesco Bagnaia, overtook him as well. Ironically, however, just when all eyes were on him, Bagnaia failed to maintain his rhythm. The two-time world champion and local Italian hero, who has dominated Mugello for the past 3 seasons, lost momentum in the final minutes. After leading most of the session, he became careless at the end and had to settle for second place. For Ducati, this result was an alarm bell. In front of their home crowd and the overflowing tifosi, their two heroes were unable to demonstrate their dominance. Moreover, the threat from KTM felt real, not just a coincidence, but an indication that this season's battle would be difficult. Slowly but surely, worry began to spread throughout the Ducati garage. This was not only because of the disappointing result, but also because this failure occurred at Mugello, a circuit that had been a symbol of the factory team's strength and glory for years. The usually confident atmosphere was now tense and filled with anxious whispers. We've been in this situation before, but this time it's different. This is our homeland, said Gigi Dall'Igna in a heavy tone, trying to hide the undeniable disappointment. For him, defeat elsewhere was acceptable. But here, in front of our own fans? That was a deep wound. While Ducati struggled with their performance, KTM emerged as a big surprise. Maverick Vinales successfully stole the spotlight after placing first in the practice session on the KTM Tech 3 motorbike. This was unexpected, as KTM had never posed a significant threat at Mugello before. But this weekend, everything changed. They seemed to have found the key to unlocking the full potential of their motorcycle on this circuit's challenging layout. Contrasting performances by Marc Márquez and Francesco Bagnaia ahead of Ducati's home race at Mugello have sparked speculation in the MotoGP paddock. The Italian public is putting extraordinary pressure on the defending champion, Pecco Bagnaia, hoping he can once again show his class in Ducati's homeland. Meanwhile, Marc Márquez, the Spanish rider who was often mocked for underperforming at Mugello, arrived with unstoppable momentum. Carlo Pernat, a sharp-eyed MotoGP observer, considers this a crucial point in Ducati's internal dominance struggle. Bagnaia has an extraordinary history at Mugello. But Márquez, despite not having a strong history there, is at the top. This will be a big test, Pernat said. Interestingly, Ducati reportedly prepared a new aerodynamic package specifically for Bagnaia, a technical weapon designed to maximize his advantage in the fast sectors of the Mugello circuit. However, as Pernat reminded us, no matter how great the technology is, it will be useless if the rider cannot or will not push the limits of his abilities. At this point, it's not about who is the fastest but who is ready to take the biggest risks, Pernat concluded, his tone full of warning. Amid Marc Márquez's extraordinary dominance this season, with 4 wins in the main race, 7 wins in the sprint race, and a total of 233 points, putting him at the top of the standings, a loud voice emerged from one of the world's motorcycle racing legends, Kevin Schwantz. "Marc is too dominant. This can make the race boring," said Schwantz, the 1993 500 cubic centimeters world champion. However, Schwantz did not criticize Márquez personally. He considered this dominance a reflection of his rival's lack of fierce resistance. In his view, Márquez is not to blame. The other riders need to raise their level of play. It's not Marc's fault that he keeps winning. The others should be able to challenge him, push him to the limit, and make the race more exciting, Schwantz continued. For the legend, the true essence of MotoGP lies in fierce, wheel-to-wheel battles and strategic, gut-wrenching competition until the last lap, not one rider shooting out alone at the front every weekend. According to him, the racing world is currently lacking that kind of drama. Marc Márquez dominated in Aragon, taking pole position, winning the sprint race, and securing the main victory with a nearly perfect performance. In contrast, Francesco Bagnaia has just begun to show signs of revival by finishing third, a positive result if not compared directly with his teammate, who is in peak form. However, behind the scenes, a more worrying reality emerges. Data from the official post-race test showed a striking difference. Márquez was 0.7 seconds faster than Bagnaia in the race pace simulation. It's a number that is difficult to ignore. Davide Tardozzi, the Ducati Lenovo team director, could not hide his concern. The front of Bagnaia's bike is a weak point. He lost confidence and could not attack the corners aggressively, he said. In Aragon, especially in the technical sector between corners 7 and 9, as well as the crucial acceleration out of corner 10, Bagnaia lost up to 0.5 seconds. That's a big enough margin to bury any hope of a podium finish, or even a potential victory. As they approach Mugello, Ducati's home ground, the pressure is mounting. This sharp difference in performance is a loud alarm for the Red Bologna team. All eyes are on the increasingly heated internal Ducati battle. Francesco Bagnaia, the reigning champion and Italian national hero, stands on one side, carrying the burden of public expectation and Ducati's long history of glory at Mugello. On the other side is Marc Márquez, the Spanish conqueror, who is on a mission to seize the throne and prove that Ducati belongs to him alone. The atmosphere in the paddock is tense, with new pressure mounting with each passing second. Mugello is not a place where we give up. It's a place where we rise, asserts Gigi Dall'Igna in a fiery tone. This statement fuels passion and reminds us that Mugello is a battleground where only one can emerge as king. The Mugello weekend has not yet reached its climax, but crisis is already knocking on Ducati's door. Starting with the unexpected results of free practice, the entire team is now forced into emergency mode. They must maximize every remaining session, from FP3 to qualifying, to turn things around before it's too late. The pressure comes from all directions, the cheers of the tifosi turning into demands, the glare of the Italian media, and the burden of the public's expectations, who dream of a victory on home soil. Will Ducati rise as champions or sink into the disbelief surrounding their garage? Write your thoughts below.